Imagine embarking on an unforgettable journey through the heart of Italy, where every turn is a new treasure and every moment is filled with beauty and culture. You start your adventure in Rome, the eternal city. Next, you venture into the rolling hills of Tuscany, where the air is perfumed with the scent of vineyards and olive grove. The journey continues to Venice, the floating city of canals and gondolas, after Five Earth and Milan. But your Italian adventure doesn't end on land. It's about to get even more extraordinary. A magical journey through Italy, topped off with a house music festival on Costa Cruise. Dance under the stars, relax in style, and discover exclusive performances on deck, all while sailing to some of the most beautiful destinations. There are 3 packages to choose from. Sailing dates are from September 24th through the 28th, 2025. Book yours now at festivaloncruise.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Heidi's House. It's your host, Queen Bee Heidi B here, and I'm happy to share that today is already our 10th episode. Yay! And I'm so grateful to have as our featured guest, Groovefella, who is my colleague, my friend. He's a DJ, music producer, labor owner, and much more. So, hey, join in and let's find out today more about Groovefella. Are you ready? Then let's go. So here he is, Groovefella. Yay!
Hey, hey,
Welcome to the
Heidi.
Heidi's house. How
Thank
are
you. Thank you for
you?
having me. I'm good. What about you?
I'm great, and even more better when I see you and have a chance to have this podcast together
My
with you.
pleasure. Likewise, likewise.
For the audience, for that matter, I explained a little bit in the intro, but we have been knowing each other for a while now and had the pleasure to work with each other and even more to be friends and collaborate and everything. So I'm super, super, super psyched that you are here. And also my audience will learn about amazing Groovefella.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, since you are our featured guest, did you know, by the way, that today is already our 10th episode?
Indeed. It's a nice mark. Well done. And congratulations on
Yes.
the idea, by the way. This is quite nice that we can all share our stories and a bit about ourselves and everything. It's a really good idea.
Thank you so much. And it wouldn't be possible without people like you and,
Indeed.
joining in and showing support. So it's kind of like a team effort, I would say.
Totally. Totally. I've been watching the other episodes and it's totally like that.
So I'm very happy that you particularly happen to be now in the episode 10 because that's kind of like a little win already when we get to the number 10 and we're gonna
Thanks.
celebrate the whole
Yeah.
journey,
Yeah.
of course,
Milestone.
while we go along. All right, but hey, since you are our featured guest, I'm gonna continue straight away to our first question, which is, could you tell us a little bit who is Groovefella?
Okay. Groovefella is the straight up product of a club head that is also I've always been very much into gear and recordings and instruments. I still today regret that I never learned how to play any instrument since I was a little kid. And when I was clubbing and going out very frequently, I've always been very drawn to the DJ booth and what was going on and the mixers, because at the time the club that I was going most of the night out was Kremlin. It had the most amazing booth. I was very drawn into the vinyl because I've always had a vinyl collection at home from my father that passed on to me. So that's how it started. I just had to I saved some money when I started working. I got my first gear, which at the time had to be turntables, couple of basic turntables, nothing fancy, a nice mixer, and I started buying records and training and learning how to beat match. Then also at the time, I was also going to another place where I got really good friends with the resident DJ, which was actually kind of a local legend because he was part of a party producer that was like a pioneer on the scene in Portugal called X Club, and his name is Oscar. And I got very friends with Oscar watching because we were very regulars there also. So he was always, you guys are always here. He was very friendly for our gang. Until one day I told to Oscar, hey Oscar, I bought a DJ setup and I've been beat matching really nicely and stuff like that. And he was like, really? You need to send me a demo. So I got him a demo. He loved it. And he said, I'm going to play this place, whatever, next weekend. You're going to do the warm up for me. I'm going to bring you with me. I was like, what? Wait, no, wait. wait. So I was shaking like a leaf in autumn, you know. I was like, oh my God, what? I have a gig in front of people. Oh my God, I've only played on my bedroom. What the hell is going on? But thankfully, I was so nervous. I will never forget this. I was so nervous, but it started flowing really nicely. The crowd started responding really nicely. Coming to the dance floor, I started getting more at ease. It went really nice. And what happened was this was a guest party in a club, and the resident was there. I didn't know the resident until that day. And he also loved my set, so he started asking me more regularly to go there. So that's how it all started. Then it started getting regular and serious. So that's how Groovefella was born. And at the time, because when that friend of mine said, you're going to warm up for me, everything's been arranged. He put my name on the flyer and everything, but he put DJ Benny. I didn't get no choice on the matter, you know. So for many years, I don't know, like 5 or more, 7, I was DJ Benny.
Okay.
Until I switched to Groovefella because also of productions, I didn't like the sound of DJ Benny.
So
that's how Groovefella started.
But that's the whole story behind the Groovefella history, so to say, that is still going on strong.
Yeah, it's not easy, but yeah, I think I will until I'm able to. I will always be playing and consuming music and sharing music. That's the most important thing for me as a DJ. It's to share the music with others. But a DJ is just basically a person that loves to share his record collection with others, you know?
Yeah. Beautiful history there. I'm gonna lead to a second question, which kind of you already answered because it's what led you to the house music. But could you explore it a little bit further? That why house music? What is it in house music that or what got you?
It's because I really like for me the music has to have some sort of message or vibe or something that deepness, you know. And house is the genre where I always find that, no matter if it's a little bit more deep or if it's a bit more techy, but it always delivers for me. You know, for example, I also love techno, but I'm super picky with techno. Super picky. It has to be very groovy. It has to be melodic somehow, you know, with nice bass lines. It can't be just like industrial techno for me. That doesn't work. So that's why house, because house, even if it's on that range that I just told you, from deep to peak hour, full on house music, tech house, you know, it always delivers for me. And I can always find the way to express my message and my story on my sets with house music.
Yeah. Beautiful is
that. So that's why house.
Yes.
So you can find me having a deep house set somewhere, but you can always find me. You can also find me at 4 a.m. tearing up the place with tech house, or something in the middle with some Afro house. Or it just depends on the venue, the place, the people, me.
Yeah, the story that you want to tell on that particular.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I love the fact that you are so versatile DJ and artist.
I also that's one of the things that I also enjoy. I really like that about myself because I can't just stick to a genre. I try to, but it's so hard for me. I just can't. Even if I say I just want to play tech house from now on, I find myself with my cart on Tracksource and Beatport just full of deep house that I just keep on buying. So it's just I can't go against it. I just can't go against it.
You have big appetite. You have to follow thing. I mean, each one of us, we have our, of course, old tendencies and so on, and there's no right or wrong, but the most important is that you follow you,
Yeah.
so to say, do your own thing there.
Yes.
All right, then I'm gonna continue to our third question, which is, who are the artists that have inspired you somehow the most?
Okay. When I was a teenager growing, I kind of skipped this part of introducing myself on my background, but I'm from Lisbon, Portugal. All my life I've lived in Lisbon, Portugal. And when I was teenager, I was a big metalhead. Metalhead in Metallica, Nirvana, Iron Maiden, that type of stuff. And then I went a bit more into punk rock, but I was always very into that type of sound until I discovered electronic music. So that also has a big influence on my electronic sound. Those bands, those
Yeah.
metal, that dark sound, that has a big influence. For example, sometimes you can find me playing a very dark and shamanic kind of set, something very tribal, like a kind of a jungle ritual or something. I think that comes from the metal influence that it always been with me. So I would say that metal has a big influence on me. But then when it comes to DJs and electronic music itself, I would have to say my number one inspiration, and I've met him personally, but we're not friends or anything. But DJ Vibe, the Portuguese, he's number one Portuguese DJ, and he's big international DJ as well. He's our biggest international DJ, undoubtedly. He's been forever. He has 35 over. I would say now it's about 40 years career. He was resident. He was resident at Kremlin, at Alcantara. He was resident. He was one of the pioneers in Portugal, and he is just one of those DJs that every time I listen to him, first of all, he got this thing that I love, which is you don't know nothing from his set, nothing,
Okay.
nothing that he plays. You know nothing, and you can't Shazam and nothing. Good luck trying. I absolutely love that about Antonio. His real name is Antonio. It's amazing. Then also Louis Vega. Louis Vega Louis is a beast. When it comes to production, when it comes to DJing, I will never forget the first time that I heard Louis Vega live.
Yeah.
I swear to God, it was the same type of feeling like when you go to a U2 concert or something and they start and it gives you goosebumps and you're like, oh my God, what am I into?
Yeah.
And Louis it's something out of this world. And also, I had the luck and privilege to meet Victor Calderoni. And every time I watch sets from Victor, he's one of the reasons that I say I will never stop playing tribal and tech house and somehow techno, because Victor has that. He's one of my favorite DJs because of that. He plays the sound that I could hear Victor all night long playing.
All right.
So yeah, I would say those are big inspirations, and of course, I'm also very inspired by the pioneers and what they did in the past. Larry Levan, Nicky Ciano, David Mancuso, Frankie Knuckles.
Yeah, I know
They are
those.
also still today. They are still a big inspiration, and I think they should still be a big inspiration for everyone in the scene, for everything that they
I know
started.
that those ones are big for you,
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
go
you got
and
to
visit.
respect the pioneers. You got to respect the trendsetters and the guys that changed the game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. Well, now I'm gonna continue to a little bit more detailed. We are talking now then about three, it can be maybe 4 or 5 even, but at least three most influential or important house tracks for you. What would they
Okay.
be?
I'm very glad that you gave me a heads up for this question, because
I know.
this is literally like one of the hardest things that I ever had to do, which was going through my collection and picking three. So what I did, I narrowed it down to something deep, something housey in the middle, and something a bit more hard. Okay.
All
And I
right.
took the liberty of bringing them with me. So number one is
Beautiful.
the Baggio track from Luzon, but this remix from Chus and Ceballos. Okay. This is one of the most beautiful things that was ever made in the universe for me when it comes to
Oh.
music. The way this remix is done, it's just every time I could hear it a million times and it will give me goosebumps a million times. So this is the first one.
Beautiful. I love it that you have the
I
vinyl.
had to do this because otherwise I couldn't pick properly, and I would leave for sure. I would leave something out very important. Then the second one is, of course, like I said, my idol, DJ Vibe.
Mhm.
I'll take you. This is undoubtedly one of the most powerful tracks that I ever heard or played when it comes to. I'm speaking sonically speaking, because the bass line hits you right in the stomach. If you hear this in a proper club with a proper sound system, it hits you right in the stomach. You can feel everything shaking inside you. And the voice from Franklin Fuentes is just hypnotic. The way that DJ Vibe produced this record is just 5-star, if not 6.
Phenomenal.
Yes. And then, last but not the least, Frankie Knuckles with Satoshi Tomy with the voice of Robert Owens, Tears.
Yeah.
Tears. This record is, I could cry listening to this. Even I'm not sad or anything, but it's so beautiful that it makes you cry. So yeah, this is the third one.
That always gets me as well, by the way. One of the
It's
most
one of
beautiful.
those. It's one of those.
And then that team actually produced together. So
Yeah.
it's absolutely timeless, aesthetic, everything. It just
Yeah.
resonates,
Exactly.
Thank you so much. I'm just so
You're
much,
welcome.
excited because I know how long you have been doing DJing and you have had those
Yeah.
record and CD collections and you are like, DJ to the core, I know the gears, everything. And you
I
are
am.
one
Yeah.
of those persons for me to go to if I have something to ask about the DJing. So I'm just like, yeah. So the
Totally.
world
Totally.
know.
I always love to help. Always. I'm always ready to help.
Beautiful,
I
beautiful.
remember when I was still a clubber and not a DJ, but I was starting to buy my records, and the DJ was playing stuff in vinyl. We would peek to the turntable to try to see the label because there
Yeah.
was no Shazam, right? And
Yes.
they would put stuff on the labels that you could not see. I will never be one of those DJs. If you ask me what are you playing, I will tell you straight up, it's this.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Well, again,
They would put
you would
stickers on
never
the
do that.
labels to hide it.
Yeah. Secrets.
Of course, secret weapon.
Secret weapons. Okay, now if our audience would like to know more about your music career, since we talked about your DJing here more, but you are also a music producer, artist of your own, and also a label owner. So now I would like you to tell a little bit about that, and then to share some of your own topics from your own productions.
Okay, so the production, that's when the Groovefella name came into picture. When I started in 2001, I was DJ Benny, bunch of years until I started hanging out with an old friend of mine he was already producing for about like 10 years or something for the people. It's the producer name. He only makes mostly deep house. And he said, "When are you going to start producing, man?" That type of conversation. I said, "But I don't know. I thought about it sometimes, but I don't have the gear. I don't know how to handle the software. I don't know nothing." He said, "Bro, you don't need nothing. You just need a computer, and I will teach you everything. Come to my house. We will hang out, have a couple of beers, and I will start showing you how it is." I thought, "Oh, that's nice of you. Thanks, man." So that's how it started. So I started going to his house. We started making collab tracks. But
Yeah.
then I was like, I don't want, that's when I started in my mind, I don't want to DJ Benny and, no, I don't want this name. I don't like the sound of it. So that's when Groovefella came into place. So my first few tracks, if you go back enough on the platform, Spotify and all that, my first few tracks are For the People and Groovefella, because we were collaborating while he was teaching me. And then I would come back home, have already my computer, I would put into practice what I learned with him in the afternoon, you know? So then I started also, so that's how it went. But the thing about production, right now, it's a bit stopped because I immigrated a couple years ago. I don't live in Portugal anymore. I'm in Finland. And yay. And at the moment, I'm still in the process of getting my own room just for studio. What this has been doing for me, which is kind of an excuse, but also kind of not, because it's actually the truth, is that not having a room dedicated for it, for example, right now I'm in my living room, not having the room dedicated for it, studio, for me, it totally kills my creative process. And my and also before killing the creative process, it creates the will to sit down and start, because I need to be on the living room or wherever, so that's why right now I'm a bit stopped. I have indeed 3 or 4 tracks that I'm promising myself for the last couple of weeks to finish, that I can finally release them. Let's see if I can keep that promise. So I should have something coming up soon. But yeah, on the past, ever since Mike is For the People, that producer that taught me, ever since he started giving me the lessons and I started getting into stuff, then I bought sampler. I started having a lot of fun with it. So I bought a keyboard, I bought some plugins. It started getting a bit more like not so much of a hobby, but more like a serious thing. And I had a blast while doing it. And there was a period when I was very, very active. I was releasing almost every Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you have very extensive catalog.
Yeah.
And
I wasn't so much nowadays. If you ask me, was that a smart move? I probably, there are a couple of tracks there that if I listen to them again, I would say, why did I release this? But yeah, I guess it was a part of the
part of the
experimenting.
process.
Yeah,
it's part of the
yeah.
process. So again, for those people who would like to know about your label, what is your label titled?
Moobla. MOOBLA. Moobla Music. Yeah, it was just a way. I'm not selfish or anything. Like I told, I'm always ready to teach people how to DJ or to tell more about my records or whatever they want to know. But it was a perfect way for me, because I was already releasing in someone else's labels. I released in, I don't know, a dozen labels or something like that. Not so many, but this was the way that I found to keep, first of all, to keep the most track of all the analytics that are surrounding my music. That was the number one reason. So that's why 99% of what I release now, it's there on my own label.
Yeah.
I don't, of course, if I think that the track has a really big potential that it could go to a big label or to someone that presses vinyl, of course I will send it first, then for my own. But if I think that it's just a good track, it will stay on my label exactly because of that. Not so much because of the monetary control, because that's the labels always send you the reports and everything, so that's not the reason. But I think the most reason is everything. Who is your biggest buyer, who is your biggest store, who is your whatever. Your audience a bit better. So that was the main reason. And also because if I need to get stuff done, I need to get stuff done. I don't need to wait for the designer to send me the cover. I don't need to wait for the mastering guy that gets late with the master, and then it delays everything. So I'm the one in control of everything. I'm the one that decides the release date. I have to stay to that deadline, So that's also a reason that I don't need to wait on nobody. If something gets screwed up, I don't know if I can say this. Yeah, if something gets screwed up, I'm the one to blame. Then I don't need to yell at nobody and get mad at nobody.
Exactly. No, you wouldn't. You are, very, very peace-loving person, and you can.
Thanks.
I mean, you have fire in you as well, but
of course, I'm an artist.
Yeah, exactly. But I feel I feel what you're telling me, you know, when it comes to the analytics and taking the whole responsibility and making sure that, you know, that if things get done, that you kind of make sure that they get done. And I'm experiencing and been witnessing very similar situations when it comes to my label as well. And I'm also happy to have you as part of High Vibe label. So it's a really honor to have you also part of that team of artists.
For me as well, indeed.
Understand my
It's quite a
language when
crew. It's quite a crew.
it comes to running the indie
Yeah.
label.
Yeah.
So that's beautiful. Now I'm gonna jump into the question that we kind of had there in the beginning, but is there a particular track that is special for you from your own productions, and maybe why?
Of my own originals.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would say that hands down. I have like 3 or 4 that are I really think, damn, I really nailed. When I listen to them now, they are like 3 or 4 years or whatever, some of them. But when I hear them now, I'm like, damn, I really nailed this one.
Yeah.
So, but I would say that hands down, the number one is More and More, because it's first of all because it was my track that got the biggest range on Spotify and wherever. So I guess it was the one that people liked the most.
Yeah.
And it's also it was so gratifying, you know, it had a bunch of plays, it had thousands of plays on Spotify and so forth. And but it's like that, like I just told before, every time I listen to it on the gym or wherever, having a bike ride or at home or when I play it, it makes me sigh. Yeah, I'm like, damn, I made this. This is so beautiful. You know, I'm like, wow, I was really inspired this day. God damn. You know,
It
so
is.
I would say More and More, especially, and go figure, I always make 99% of the times when I produce, because I have this problem of my own when I buy music. I love the track, but I hate the vocal.
Oh.
You
Oh.
know? So what I do, every time I have a track with a vocal, I always make an instrumental version.
All right.
Always, because some people might have the same problem with my track. I love the instrumental, but this goddamn vocal sample, it's so cheesy. I hate it. I'm not gonna buy the track. Okay, no problem. I make an instrumental for you. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
This was also one of the tricks that Mike taught me for the people, the producer
mhm.
that taught me how to produce. He said this, bro, it takes nothing to take the vocals away when you're exporting. So
Yes.
why not to make a bloody instrumental for somebody that can, they might even want to put their own a cappella in it.
Yeah. And
You know?
I have applied that's similar to some of my releases also at High Vibe
Okay.
that not all, but there are some that are available for instrumental only
Yeah.
because of that
Yeah.
reason that, you know, I thought that, okay, maybe sometimes the instrumental works on its own very beautifully,
Exactly.
nicely, and so on.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
very good move there. All right.
Yeah.
So people go and check that track out. So you find out why
Definitely.
it was receiving so much
Definitely.
attention.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
that's, I was about to say, my favorite version of More and More, it's also the instrumental. And it's the instrumental that was the one with the most plays.
okay. So
Yeah.
your hunch was correct there, so
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
that
very
was from
melodic and it speaks to you with the melodies. You don't need the vocal.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Now we have still a few questions left before closing today's episode, but I don't want to let you go without asking those.
Of
So
course.
now you talked already in the beginning a little bit about certain events in your career, but if you had to look throughout your all musical journey and career as a DJ or music producer, artist, and so forth, what would you say? What kind of moments are the highlights so far for you?
Ooh. Okay. I'm a very, my mood is very set by the place where I am.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a few places that I will never forget that I played at because of the place where it was like some kind of hidden beach, you
Mm-hmm.
know? like a sunset on a hidden beach that happened. Or there used to be in Lisbon. Lisbon has a river. It's a river, big river city. It has river banks. And there used to be some parties on a sail ship that I played, and it was on the river. It was moving on the river. It was not on the dock. It was like a 4-hour ride. I loved to play on that ship because first of all, it was insane to be playing while the ship was moving and the crowd was on the deck. It was really, really awesome in the summer. It was awesome vibe. Plus, it with the view from Lisbon from the river, you never saw your city from the river. So it was like absolutely awesome. And then I love to play there because we are on the middle of the river on a boat. I'm gonna play wherever I want because you can't go anywhere. So I absolutely love those. I will never forget those. And coming to Finland, I absolutely love to play at Lolo because the place it's unbelievable. The design and the location. It was so spiritual for me to play there, especially outside. I played there twice, but once was inside. I absolutely loved it. I will never forget it. But I think that the biggest highlight is for me to play at Kremlin so regularly because it all goes back to when I was still a clubber. Kremlin was my church. Kremlin was my paradise garage.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday, Friday and Saturday, Friday and Saturday. And that's where my tickle in the belly, the butterfly in the stomach for the DJing started, watching Gonzalo and Pedrinho and Ruzda, that's where it all started. So, and that's where also DJ Vibe started. And that's also where DJ Jiggy started and a bunch of the Portuguese pioneer DJs. So Kremlin has a huge history load in it and inside of it. If those walls could talk, then Tony Young played there. A bunch of big DJs also played at Kremlin. So Kremlin being there on that DJ booth, and I'm not on the dance floor anymore. Now I switched sides and I'm facing the crowd on that DJ booth. That was that was a big cherry on top. And then being a regular at Kremlin, I was always hanging out on the DJ booth, even I was not there. So that's also how I got to meet and hang out with Victor Calderoni.
Yeah.
Hang out with Dennis Cruz, hang out with Jesus, a ton of heavyweights,
Heavyweights,
Yeah, that's also where I warmed up for a bunch of my mentors like Carlos Manassa, Fovrel, Stefano Noferini. I got to warm up for these guys that I look up to. They played right after me. I got to, yeah, good job, man. Yeah, Jesus, thanks. It was so overwhelming. So, yeah, Kremlin is quite an experience in my career. Even it's just a club.
Well, those kind of places are never just the clubs.
Yeah.
They're special for a reason.
That's the places where you make like a all-night set, 7-hour set, and I love those. I never got to do one at Kremlin. I did like 4, I think. It's unbelievable to do a 4-hour set at Kremlin in a place with that sound system and those arcades. It's super short, sealed, and so the sound gets accumulated in that room. Yeah.
I'm yet not visited there, but it will be in my bucket list. So next time
it reopened in 2016, so you need to go there. You need to go there.
And I'm gonna now ask a quick question about what do you think? What is your message or contribution to the global house music scene?
Well, I always that's difficult. Well, I guess I spread the word always. I love to spread the word, especially because house music, whether you like it or not, is still not a mainstream kind of, especially, well, I mean, I don't mean like EDM or anything. No offense. I mean, Frankie Knuckles, DJ Vibe, normal people don't know these, So whether you like it or not, it's still kind of a underground music, sound of music niche. Let's say, depending on the country where you are, it's more or less popular.
Yeah, depending on the
So
country.
I always try to spread the word to people, for example, people that don't know house music or people that are into electronic, because when I started listening to electronic music, Jesus, it was cheesy. It was super commercial until I started going out to Kremlin and places like, and then you see, oh, no, wait, this is way better. This is much better. So then you start getting into the underground stuff, you forget a little bit more. But how it got you there, it's from the commercial side. So if I know
Yeah.
somebody that's into house music, but still on that side, on that place, I always, hey, listen to this, listen to that, listen to Louis Vega, listen to this mixtape, listen to that mixtape. Have you heard about this guy? No. Oh, you need to go
And
look it up. Go look it
this
up. So
sums up beautifully what you said in the beginning, that the thing is that you are introducing the DJs, the role is introducing
yeah,
people
yeah,
to new
yeah,
music and
yeah.
educate them.
If
So
nobody
that's
had ever taken me to Kremlin, you said, have you ever been to Kremlin? No, I've heard about it, but I've never been. Oh, you need to come with me. Next Friday, we're going. If that person wouldn't have taken me, I would have never heard real house music. And I'm like, wait a minute, this is not the crap I listen on the radio. This is completely different. This is like creme de la creme,
this is the
Yeah.
thing. This is
And
it.
also, I don't know how what's the range and the extent of this, but I get a ton of promos, thankfully, because most of them are so good. And I thank everyone that sends me promos and all the promo pools that I'm at, including your own. I always love to play a bunch of promos to help out the new producers and to get it going, get some rotation, even it's not a record anymore, but rotation. Let's say give the record some spin,
Yeah.
and some airplay. So even sometimes when I make my monthly podcast, it's promos only set,
Yeah.
so
And
that I also try to help out in that way.
it's beautiful thing that what you're
Yeah.
doing. So contributing in both ways, educating and sharing and
Yeah.
supporting.
Also the
Now,
education. If anybody want to have some, if my neighbor, it happened a couple days ago, I would like to buy a controller, but I don't know nothing about DJ. Would you give me a little 101? Sure, let's go. Always ready.
beautiful, always helpful. Now,
Yeah.
our time is closing by, but I want to thank you for this amazing interview. And
Thank you. It
if
was fun.
some people, oh yes, always fun with you. We
Yeah.
always have fun, and when we perform also together,
Yeah.
Groovefella has been DJing for my Heidi B lives, and we've been doing few live sessions. It's always a pleasure. But now, if somebody wants to know more about you, where can they find you in social media?
Everywhere, because my friend, that producer, my teacher, he said, do you have this? No. Do you have that? No. Do you have MySpace? So come on, Mike. It was like, you got to be everywhere. We're going to make everything for you. He made me do everything. So I basically have everything. But I would say that the one that I'm the most active still today is Instagram. So
Instagram.
I think it would, of course, and that's the brain of everything. If I share a set on SoundCloud, it's on Instagram. The link.
Okay.
If I share whatever, it's there. If I go wherever to play, it's there, the link. So Instagram,
So we
definitely.
can find you from Groovefella, right?
Exactly.
All right. So again, much love and thank you. And I'm gonna play now after this a mini mix, which includes some of your tracks. So are you
Thank
ready?
you. Yeah.
All
Enjoy.
right.
Let's
So
go.
let's go.